Electronic Manufacturing Services Design Development PCB Assembly in Texas. In this video, we'll explore the benefits of working with an EMS provider in Texas, as well as the design development and PCB assembly services they offer. We'll also discuss common mistakes to avoid when designing a PCB, what to look for in an EMS provider, and tips for working with an EMS provider in Texas. What are electronic manufacturing services? Electronic manufacturing services, EMS, are services provided by companies that specialize in the design, assembly, and manufacturing of electronic components and products. These companies work with customers to provide end-to-end solutions from concept to production. Benefits of electronic manufacturing services. Working with an EMS provider in Texas can provide a number of benefits. Some of the most important advantages of working with an EMS provider include: reduced time to market. An EMS provider can help reduce the time it takes to design and manufacture a product. Lower costs. An EMS provider can also help reduce production costs by leveraging their resources and experience. Reduced risk. By working with an experienced EMS provider, you can reduce the risks associated with designing and manufacturing a product. Design development services. When designing a PCB, it's important to have the right design development services in place. An EMS provider can help you create a design that meets your requirements and is optimized for cost effectiveness. PCB assembly in Texas. Once the design development is complete, the next step is PCB assembly. An EMS provider in Texas can provide a range of PCB assembly services, including surface mount technology, SMT, assembly, through-hole assembly, and hand soldering. Common mistakes to avoid when designing a PCB. Some of the most important mistakes to avoid include: a PCB can be a complex process, and there are a number of common mistakes to avoid. Relying on a generic design. It's important to create a custom design that meets your product requirements. A generic design may not be optimized for your product, which can lead to problems down the line. Ignoring signal integrity. Signal integrity is an important factor when designing a PCB. It's important to ensure that the design meets the required signal integrity standards. Choosing the wrong components. Choosing the wrong components can lead to problems with the design and performance of the product. It's important to select components that are compatible with the design and meet the required specifications. Not testing the design. Testing is an important step in the design process. It's important to test the design to ensure that it meets the required specifications and performs as expected. Guidelines for choosing the right EMS provider. When choosing an EMS provider, it's important to consider a number of factors. Here are some guidelines to help you choose the right EMS provider for your project. Experience and expertise. It's important to choose an EMS provider with the experience and expertise to meet your needs. Cost effectiveness. An experienced EMS provider can help you reduce costs by optimizing the design for cost effectiveness. Quality assurance. Quality assurance is an important factor when choosing an EMS provider. Advantages of working with an experienced EMS provider. Working with an experienced EMS provider can provide a number of advantages. An experienced provider can help you avoid common mistakes and ensure that your product meets the highest standards. They can also help you optimize the design for cost effectiveness and reduce the risk of errors and delays. An experienced provider also has the resources and expertise to help you bring your product to market quickly. They can help you select the right components and materials, as well as provide design and development services. Tips for working with an EMS provider in Texas. Here are some tips to help you get the most out of your working relationship with an EMS provider. Establish clear communication. Establishing clear communication is essential when working with an EMS provider. Be prepared. It's important to be prepared when working with an EMS provider. Set realistic expectations. Setting realistic expectations is key when working with an EMS provider. Key considerations for choosing the right EMS provider. When choosing an EMS provider, there are a few key considerations to keep in mind. Here are some of the most important factors to consider when selecting an EMS provider. Experience and expertise. It's important to choose an EMS provider with the experience and expertise to meet your needs. Cost effectiveness. An experienced EMS provider can help you reduce costs by optimizing the design for cost effectiveness. Quality assurance. Quality assurance is an important factor when choosing an EMS provider. Conclusion. Are you looking for an experienced EMS provider in Texas? At ABC Electronics, we specialize in design development and PCB assembly services. Contact us today to learn more about how we can help you with your project. Visit our website, WinowPCBA.